Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2024 SEMA Show. We're at the African American Automotive Association booth, and I am here with somebody who is such an inspiration. I met him maybe last year here, and just learning his story, learning about what he's doing, and he's a constant reminder sometimes when, I'm kind of going through things, I need to just shut up and suck it up and just attack the day, man. So I want everybody to learn about Tony Lue, his story, and just everything that he's about, man. Thank you for sitting down with me and just telling your story.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for everything you're doing. Like, one thing I always say, representation is huge, and you brought that to the forefront of everybody's minds here at the SEMA Show, so thank you very much.
Thank you, man. What do you think of the show?
I love it. I love it. It's my fourth or fifth show. I'm losing track now, but as an enthusiast, I got here as a dream and slowly networked and built my way up now to the point where I have my own accessibility consulting business registered with the SEMA Show.
Let's go.
And I'm here with my own badge.
Let's
and
go.
It feels amazing. It feels
That's
amazing.
dope, man.
Yeah.
What cars kind of caught your eye here this year? I know BC's cars, which are in my booth, I'm going to be a little partial.
Yep.
The Moby Dick has really caught my eye. But in the Pro Charger booth, there is a 70, I think, Chevelle that has black, it's all black. It has gold rims, has a gold Pro Charger in it. Oh my goodness. I'm in love with that car. You gotta check it out.
I haven't seen that yet. I saw one this morning. I'm not a McLaren guy. I think it's a 725S or something like that. And just the wrap and the scheme that they had going on with the fade of the paint to the carbon.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind, and it was amazing.
That's
it was
super
amazing.
dope,
it just drew me right in. So
it's like Kid in the Candy Store.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, dope thing about your story. So obviously we have the African American Automotive Association, and I also have the sister company, Foxxtecca, right? Foxxtecca deals with the culture of mobility. And while SEMA is a huge concentration on cars, mobility is planes, trains, automobiles, bikes, sneakers, skateboards, wheelchairs, like everything. And a huge part of that for Foxxtecca is having these kids in the communities that we serve be a part of the conversations that's going to guide the future of what mobility is. Now, it's obvious that you're sitting in a wheelchair, but you didn't start out in a wheelchair, right? So please tell us the story. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, because my man still has a car. My man is still driving. And obviously, he's limited based on how the rest of us get to live our everyday lives. So please tell us essentially your story from the beginning, Mr. Championship Hurdler, to where we are now.
All right. So I grew up high school superstar, baseball, track, that was my thing. Fastest in the nation for the hurdles, my age, and things were going really well. But had too good of a time, lost my scholarship, got kicked out of high school, and started working as an automotive apprentice. Loved cars, and someone said to me one day, if you find a job that you love, it's not like working a day in your life. So had a 90 Integra, was always breaking it, had to figure out how to fix it. So I got an apprenticeship, things were going amazing. It was a performance shop. And 11 months in, September 30th, 2009, brought some scrap cars down the street to the scrap yard. The crane operator was not paying attention, dropped the magnet on the car, crushed me inside, picked me up with the claws. He got to 15 feet, somebody jumps out and says he's still inside the car. The guy panicked and dropped me from 15 feet. So I came crashing back down to the ground, woke up inside the car, looked to my right, couldn't see the passenger seat. The roof was just crushed all the way down, and I just said, thank God. Because at that point, I knew exactly what had happened. The initial impact knocked me out. I woke up on the drop. Long story short, people showed up. Yeah, it got me out, airlifted to the hospital, and diagnosis, paraplegic, nothing waist down. Very fortunate because I had a minor fracture in my neck. So a lot of the dexterity and strength that I value so much today could have been gone. And I'm fortunate to be alive here today speaking with you.
Word, like alive, like that's something that you see in a movie, like in that.
100%. 100%.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Man, but now you go from that, let's just call it a tragedy, but you found strength in that accident and you didn't let it stop you, bro.
No, my saving grace is that I'm still alive. You know, when something like this happens to you, you realize really what's important in life. You know, all that other BS, it gets thrown to the wayside. So the first thing was for me is get back to life, figure out how to eat, sleep, drink, navigate a very inaccessible world. And sports was a natural fit, so I went right into wheelchair basketball. Then I got into hand cycling, like Tour de France, just lying down. Did that for about 10 years, and was gifted an E46 actually from a close friend. It was completely stock, and I went down the rabbit hole of modification. And I wanted to be a little bit different, but really and truly, I just wanted to get on the track and drive with my friends and not get left behind.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening. So I started to figure out how to make things more accessible for myself and others on the track.
So how did the fabrication, like what was the research process? Because I'm sure, I don't know when it happened, but was there Google? Like how were you kind of going through the process?
Fortunately for YouTube and stuff, so I was injured in 2009, that's when YouTube really started to take off with the Hoonigans and everything.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing Chair Slayer, Rob Parsons, he was on the Hoonigans, you know, shed a couple tears because at that point, it was like, this is possible.
Yeah.
You know, so got in contact with him, hashed it out, and then I ended up, through a series of different things happening, going with more of an electronic setup. So I basically took the paddle shifts, moved them down into a little module that I 3D printed. So it's a toggle switch for up and down. It has an electronic clutch, and I just mounted that on top of the pre-existing hand controls that are there. So down to go, forward to brake, and at that point, I'm shifting, I can lay on the rev limiter, I can do all the nonsense that we all love to do as
Was
car
it a
guys.
hard adjustment from, you know, typical steering wheel controls as far as like the turning versus now pushing into brake? Like, was it a hard adjustment?
For myself, no.
Okay.
I think some people might have a little bit of an adjustment. Like people that can still use their legs will jump in and they're like, no, I can't do it. Because your instincts, natural instincts are to use your feet.
Yeah.
I don't have a gas pedal, I do have a brake pedal, but some people just, you get used to it.
Yeah.
But with 600 horsepower at your hands, you're not used to it. It's,
That's super dope, man. So what are your plans as far as like racing with the car? Like what do you?
So I built it for the GP, big track, circuit stuff. I love cornering, love to go fast, big brakes, love that too.
Yeah.
But drifting is taking a hold of me. I haven't been like sideways personally with my own car.
Yeah.
But I have been in other cars for ride-alongs, and
He's like, I need that.
I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. It's like the physics don't make sense. You know, the snow. I'm in Toronto, so you know, growing up it was always like snow, e-brake, front-wheel drive cars. Like, But I want to get in a car that's hooked up. Like,
That's
you know?
super dope.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. And then now, you know, you have your own personal goals, but you're out being an inspiration to others, and you're on tour speaking. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I knew nothing about disability. You know, it's thrust into a world that I knew nothing about, and I started learning very quickly, and I saw the gaps within the industry. Much like yourself in the automotive industry, you're like, I'm not seeing people like myself, or whatever it may be, and now people are like, come speak here, and I'm in a boardroom, like, there are no black people in this boardroom, whatever it may be, so I started getting invited to more and more things and advocating for myself, because going through the system, breaking my back, I went home without any medical supplies. And speaking with other people, I'm like, you have medical supplies, you have medical supplies? And one of the major differences was
Skin color,
it was the skin color. So I'm like, what else is wrong with the system? You know what I mean? So I'm working with one of our major hospital networks, helping them to advocate and working with their black network. Speaking at schools, universities, businesses, traveling, and really just trying to share my story, let people know that one, there is life after injury, and there's all sorts of things that we go through on a daily basis that we think are debilitating, but really and truly, when something like this happens, like I said, you realize what's important and how fortunate you are to live a regular life on a day-to-day basis, right? So creating awareness around disability, accessibility, and just living a great life, because you only have one. And I'm so fortunate and blessed to be here and living it. So
Where do you see, or what would you hope to see in the mobility industry when it comes in terms to people with disabilities? Because I know this world isn't exactly formatted for easy transportation, easy ways around. So where would you like to see some changes?
There's so many things. Just getting around regularly, with whether it's accessible washrooms, parking spaces. It's the small things, really, that make the big difference in people's lives. Just getting out and being able to do the same things that you do regularly, right? Beyond that, it's being able to thrive as a person with a disability in our very inaccessible world. So it's providing resources and funding to people that want to take it that extra step, because it's very difficult. Things need to be made, things need to be innovated. Like, you have to start thinking outside the box when you have a disability. And so we know once you start thinking outside the box, you need money to pay for everything that's outside that box. So that's what I'm working on, networking, trying to bring everybody together, and like I said, just create some awareness and just awareness around disability and accessibility.
And you're an inspiration too, not only for us that have, able bodies, but for kids who are in a similar situation that may feel like, man, like, look what's happened to me, and they're lost. And it's easy for somebody who hasn't gone through it to try to explain to them, like, hey, it's be okay. But for you, who's in their same shoes and understands what they're going through, it's so dope that they can hear your story and learn and be inspired. Representation, right? We talk about it, and representation comes in all forms and fashion. It's just not necessarily color and sex. It's also experience, right? And I could never even want to imagine what you've experienced, but there are other people out there who have, right?
Absolutely.
So it's super dope that you're able to do that, man. It's
Absolutely.
so important.
You said it, representation is huge, and like, the Hoonigans, Hurt was one of my biggest inspirations, because I saw like a black man out there doing his thing, getting the notoriety, and like being in these spaces now where I didn't think we were accepted. I didn't know anybody growing up that drove cars and was an enthusiast and lived that life. So I didn't think it was available to me. If it did, like, I wouldn't have thought about baseball or track. I would have just jumped in a car.
Yeah.
I've always loved cars.
Yeah.
So like you said, to open up those doors for the next generation, like you're doing, with Foxxtecca, that it's phenomenal. It really, truly is. Like, hats off to you, bro. Hats off to you.
It's about guys like you in the community that are out there doing it, and it's I want these kids to learn about you and the people like you and the opportunities that are out there. And I think just for years our people have had to just work against all odds, right? And then that's just in the normal sense. So when there's other curveballs that get thrown your way, sometimes you're just like, man, something else. You just got to keep pushing through, right? And all communities deal with it. Black, white, purple, green, like, everybody has something, but it's the lesson that, we got to just keep pushing through and work together to get it done, man. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited for some future things that we're talking about doing together.
Yep.
I'm excited to learn more about what you have going on in your own right. And please share where the audience can learn more about you, where they can find you, when they can reach you.
All right, so my professional Instagram and everywhere else you can find me at Facebook, the Anthony Lue, Lue is my last name. And then Roland Shooter is my photography car page. All the E46 2J content is on there. 8HP swap is coming in right now. Like, the sky's the limit, If you can dream it, you can do it.
That's a fact, man. Tony, I appreciate you chilling with us, man. Thank you, brother. See you at the next interview at the 2024 SEMA Show.